Hi everyone, it's the English Simmer here, and I feel like it's speculation after speculation in the Sims 4 community right now, which honestly, in my personal preference, it's one of my favorite times. I absolutely love coming up with ideas, thinking of what could be like changed in the game, and today we're going to be talking about the Manage World system, a system that I actually use a fair amount. As you may know, if you've been watching my channel a while, pretty much since the pandemic kicked off, I've been creating my own personal save file where I've been going in, restyling townies, making them look more like my interpretations of Sims. Throughout that project, I very much have realized that Manage Worlds isn't the best thing in the game, and I definitely feel like there are some big potential updates and different ways that they could do things to make it easier for the players. Now, I don't want to mention where these rumors started from. I don't want to get anyone in trouble. So just to give you a little bit of context, it was quoted, updating the flow and screens of Manage Worlds for players' experience. And Manage Worlds for me right now is just clicking a lot of buttons. Obviously, starting off with the biggest feedback I see from the Sims community as a whole, whether you played this game since it's released or you picked it up last week for free. It is, why do we always have to start in Create a Sim? If you did not know, that was new for The Sims 4. It might have been that way back in The Sims 1, but in The Sims 2 and in The Sims 3, if I could tell my fingers what to do, that would be great. You actually started both of those games basically in the Manage Worlds of those games. You could have a look at all the pre-made townies who were already in the world. You could hop into one of their families from the get-go. You had your own little bin storage of like Sims that you've created or like families that they suggested you play with. So of course, I think the biggest flow update that they could do is actually when you start a new game within The Sims 4, you just head straight into Manage Worlds instead of going into Create a Sim. I mean, on the Manage World screen, in the bottom right-hand corner, you have a button anyway that says Create New Household to move in. You already have that option to create a family if you want to, so why not actually give players the chance to check out pre-mades first? Or maybe they want to hop straight into build mode and Create a Sim isn't really what they pick the game up for. Or maybe you just want to fully customize your world before you create anyone to live in it. I feel like that gives you the options of like all the ways that people play The Sims instead of only taking you to Create a Sim and being like, you have to do this. And whilst I was researching for this video, like trying to come at it from a newer player's perspective or someone who hasn't spent as much time as I have in Manage Worlds, I was going through and just like clicking on different things, seeing what different buttons do. Tell me why I have never ever noticed this, but when you actually click on a house, so say if you click on the Pancakes residence, the buttons in the bottom right hand corner are the most bizarre choices I have ever seen. The play button is fair enough. Like if you want to start playing as the Pancakes, hit that, you'll hop into them, all good there. Tell me why one of the main options is visit household. Why would I ever choose to visit a household by going into Manage Worlds first and then choosing to visit? You can just bring the map up from gameplay by hitting M. You can choose to travel on your phone. There are a bunch of different methods to travel and like visit different lots. Tell me why visit is listed in Manage Worlds as like one of the most important pieces of information. Build mode, I get it. Maybe you want to change up their house. And then you have to click more to actually, I feel, get to the most important stuff. So manage households where you can like split them up. You can actually have them move out into separate houses, which knowing the Pancakes, probably gonna happen in a lot of people's games. Why is that not listed in the hotbar from the get-go? I would definitely add evict and manage households into this hotbar. Speaking of manage households, if you've ever created your own save file, if you've ever like played around obviously with neighborhood stories that we got a couple of years ago now, you are probably well aware of the manage households. This is basically a long list of like all the households that are in the game that you will interact with in different worlds. These are all the townies, pre-mades. I don't know which side of the discussion you're on that one. I just call everyone a townie nowadays. It makes it much easier. And yeah, there's a couple of like drop downs. There's like date created, there's like A to Z, and then you can actually click which packs or like which worlds you actually just view. But apart from that, manage households really needs a huge overhaul. I'm sure you lot can leave like a ton in the comments down below of like options that you would like to see in the manage households menu, but even being able to like click multiple households and delete them all in one go, like delete households en masse. Sometimes you don't want any of these townies in your game, and the only way to delete them right now is hitting the X as you hover over them, and you have to do that individually for each household. I know a lot of people have said that they really wish that they could lock certain worlds. So for example, obviously in werewolves we got one of the game options, which was so handy, of werewolves actually not being able to travel to other worlds or appearing outside of Moonwood Mill, and loads of players really appreciate that. I know that I get infuriated every single time a celebrity turns up on a lot that I'm on, because they override everything. All the Sims just want to react to them all of the time. They'll be fainting, they'll be screaming, they'll be taking photos. Even my Sims, who I'm like trying to control, are also overridden by celebrities. I would absolutely love it if there was an option either by lot. I don't think I would want it as a lot trait, because I just don't want it taking up like a slot that I could use to another lot trait, or by world of like what kind of Sims you actually want to appear in that world. So for example, some people like keeping Sulani just as Sulani and don't really want to see Mortimer Goth wandering around in his little budgie smugglers. I personally don't mind that. Daddy Goth can do as he pleases in my game. At this point, it's fan service. When you click on a lot, in the bottom left hand corner there's a little like house with an eye which gives you information about the lot. However, I really wish that you could actually change some things here without having to load into the lot, go through a loading screen and then change it all and then come back out of the loading screen back to manage worlds. I think player experience flow could really be helped if you could actually go about changing lot traits, challenges, and also maybe even lot types through this little information category. Lot types is a little bit harder because for some things you need like certain aspects of a build for it to be considered complete. So I feel like that could potentially run into issues, especially for like newer players who don't understand that certain lot types need certain gameplay elements to be considered a full lot and you can actually travel to. And then also being able to bulldoze from this menu, because right now you either have to like hop into a household then go into build by mode to bulldoze, or you just have to click on build in manage households and then again you have to sit through a loading screen just to bulldoze a lot. Again, when you click on a house and then you actually get the options to like look through different Sims, it tells you their traits and it tells you their age and it tells you where they currently are in the world, which I mean, all good information. I don't want them to remove any of that. However, I do think they could add in some more information. Now that we have pronouns within the game, I think it would be so helpful if next to the Sim's name it had their pronouns. I also kind of wish it showed you like what career a Sim was in and then also what skills they had. And I think that kind of would help if we did load into manage worlds from the get-go instead of create a Sim, because then if people did want to play as a certain household, then you could kind of browse through and be like, hey, like what careers am I interested in? More so from a newer player experience to be like, hey, what do I want to play? Like, what am I feeling right now? And also for us more experienced players, I think it would just be a nice little memory jog. I actually didn't even think about this being an issue until I sat down and like looked at the worlds for this video. Not many worlds have apartments, but in San Myshuno, in a lot of the apartments already, there's already a townie living in it, so it kind of has the little like plumb bob above it to let you know that there's already households there. However, both of the apartments in Evergreen Harbor, the world that shipped with Eco Lifestyle, they don't really have anything to signify that they're actually like playable lots, which I find really weird. They have the same art style as like the shells and kind of the decorative pieces of the world in the map, and it's only when you hover over them you can tell that there's 2 out of 2 units available. If you didn't know know, or like you didn't really like hover over them, how are you ever to know that they actually could be livable and you could have a sim in there? The logo for the destination worlds, I definitely feel like needs to be updated. I think it should be a little suitcase or something like that. Right now, it's just like a sun, I think it's meant to be, which like fair enough, like sunshine, holidays, but I just don't think it gives off like destination world vibes. So those are kind of like the points that I had basing it off what is already in the game. However, I also would love to see some updates to manage worlds that actually just make it a little bit easier for me as a player and that don't already exist. This is one that I've thought about so much over the years, and I really wish that this was a thing. But when you actually like click on a lot, I would really love it if it kind of zoomed in onto that lot and actually showed you what the lot looks like on the inside, or there was a way to like preview the lot before you actually move into it. The amount of times I've moved my sim in, tried to like play around with it a little bit and been like, no, you know what, this isn't the right lot for me, let's move. And at that point it just feels like you're wasting your own time and also your sim's simoleon. So why can we not preview lots before we buy them? I really wish that there was a clear world option. Like I already mentioned, you can't bulldoze a lot unless you hop in to build and buy mode, but I think a clear world would be really helpful for those people who really enjoy creating save files. And I don't think that could only just bulldoze all lots within the world. I also think it could like move out every single family, so they were still available in the managed worlds, and then if they gave us that like en masse deletion that I asked for in managed households, you could still go through and delete all of those and just start from scratch, kind of like how Newcrest is. I feel like people are so split on Newcrest. It's either like, oh my god, this is so overwhelming, like what do you mean I have to download every lot from the gallery or build every lot and then create every single family, and then other people are like, oh, this is incredible, it's a blank canvas, like mwah, perfection. So why not just give that option? I also think, and this is like a pipe dream, I don't think this is ever gonna happen, but I think it would be sick if it were an option. Imagine if like the game had some way to do like official save files. Imagine if like Kayla, let's use Lil Simsy as an example. She could go onto her gallery and upload a whole entire world. So it wasn't by lot, it wasn't like room by room. She could just physically go onto her gallery and be like, this is my version of Willow Creek. Do you want to install this version of Willow Creek into your game? You download it, you can save it to your library, all the same things that you can already do in the gallery, but when you actually choose to place it, it resets the whole of Willow Creek to have all of her builds that she included, all of the townies that she has created for it. Instead of players having to like go in, download every single lot, download every single family, move every single family member in, change relationships if they needed to change relationships, it could all just be there from the get-go, delivered to you on a silver platter on the gallery. But those are pretty much my suggestions for how managed worlds could actually be updated in The Sims 4. I would love to hear your thoughts on this though. This isn't a confirmed thing whatsoever. This is purely speculation within the community right now. But like I said, I absolutely love coming up with like ideas and expansions and thoughts about what could actually be done within the game. And I think community suggestions are just so incredible, because even you lot like commenting down below now, you could mention something that I've never even thought about, because we all play the games differently and we all have our own experiences with them. So please do not hesitate to leave your thoughts and ideas down below. I want to read all of them. I love these little discussions, as you all know. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Let me know how you feel about a potential Managed Worlds update. I feel like at the minute I'm gonna have a fair few videos like this talking about things that I would like to see updated in the game, because I definitely think there's some big potential for some quality of life updates, and I want to get into it, specifically parties. So if you want to see that video, give this one a thumbs up. I appreciate you all, and I will speak to you all in my next one. Bye now.